Good morning and Happy New Year. Welcome to the Sunday service. This morning we're going to do the meditation few minutes. After meditation, Dhamma teacher Sai Maharjan is going to give a Dhamma talk. I believe he's on the way right now. He's coming from all the way far away somewhere, maybe 70, 80 miles away. So he's on the way. So right now the Subodha is going to lead the loving kindness meditation. Subodha, you can start.
All right, let's get into a comfortable position and close our eyes. And let's take 3 deep breaths. And now, think thoughts of metta, loving kindness, goodwill, beginning with yourself. This is a sincere wish, a wholesome desire for your true happiness. You might think to yourself, may I be happy, may I be peaceful, may I be free from stress and pain, free from suffering. May I live with heart and mind unburdened by greed, aversion, delusion. May I look after myself with ease. Let these be more than just words that you say to yourself, but to feel the intention for them, to really want these things for yourself. And now spread your loving kindness, your goodwill to your loved ones, your friends, your family, those that you hold in high esteem, hold in admiration. May they also be happy, peaceful, free from stress and pain, free from suffering. May they live with hearts and minds unburdened by greed, aversion, delusion. May they look after themselves with ease. And extend your loving kindness, your goodwill to people you don't know so well, various acquaintances in your life, perhaps the people you don't hold in such high regard. For them too, we wish them happiness, peace. May they be free from stress and pain, free from suffering. May they live with hearts and minds unburdened by greed, aversion, delusion. May they look after themselves with ease. And we extend our metta, our loving kindness, our goodwill, even to those that we don't like, even to those who don't like us, even to those people who are hard to get along with, hard to respect. For them too, we say, may they be happy, may they be peaceful, may they be free from stress and pain, free from suffering. May they live with hearts and minds unburdened by greed, aversion, delusion. May they look after themselves with ease. if each and every one of us could live in this way, we would all be admirable friends to each other. So it's with that in mind that we spread our metta, our loving kindness, our goodwill in all directions. The north, the east, the south, the west, above and below, to all sentient beings everywhere. May they be happy. May they be peaceful. May they be free from stress and pain, free from suffering. May they live with hearts and minds unburdened by greed, aversion, delusion. May all beings look after themselves with ease. And now, with our hearts and minds uplifted with the metta that we have cultivated, let us now turn our attentions to our breath, our body. We will endeavor to be mindful, ardent, and alert as we breathe in, as we breathe out. It can be helpful to find a place in the body where we feel the breath most strongly and rest our attention there. Attempt to do so unwaveringly, but if the mind wanders, bring your attention back to the breath. We will continue to meditate in this way until we hear the bell.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you, Subodha, leading the metta meditation. I'm very happy to see Mr. Sai. He's here right now. Yes, he's in the, I believe he's in restroom. So he will be here with soon. So anyway, so I just want to make a couple of announcements. Welcome, Sai. Happy New Year. You can take a seat here. This is a Chinese New Year celebration. It was start yesterday, and our temple will celebrate every year Lunar New Year. This time we are going to celebrate the next Sunday, which is 18th of February. We are having we are going to plan the special blessing for everybody. Then we are going to give a dana for the monks. I believe we have at least 11 or 12 monks coming. Then we have lunch for everybody also. So please come and join. And we have all kind of food: Indian, Sri Lankan, Thai, maybe some other food also. So please come and join. Then the temple is going to give a special blessing plus special red envelope like this. You all are getting like this kind of envelope, which is something surprise inside. I don't know what it is. I think the monks are preparing it. I have no idea what is going to be inside. Something inside important. Good luck one. Who knows? I don't know. We'll see next Sunday. Okay, please come and join. I'm happy to see Mr. Sai is here. Sai, you can start your Dhamma talk right now.
Okay, thank you, Bante. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Good morning, Venerable Sirs and Dhamma friends. Bante, do you know how much that surprise is worth in that envelope?
Maybe
No, you don't know?
Maybe more than that. Who knows? I don't
Okay.
know.
Well, basically, Bante is trying everything he can to bring you back here next Sunday, right? It's always a pleasure to be part of this beautiful Dhamma gathering. And again, I will extend Bante's New Year wish to all of you. Happy New Year, and may your all good wishes come true in this beginning of New Year. And I heard that this is the year of dragon, and I don't know, that's all I know. I don't know other implication about it. So we've been talking about different topics, and this year I chose a collection of Buddha's teaching from the Majjhima Nikaya. It's the middle-length discourses, and you can read more about the sutta. The category is called the chapter of simile. And last time we talked about the first sutta, and today I want to share. And again, I don't think I'm teaching, but I'm trying to give you some information, motivate you to go and read these suttas, and you can inform yourself, be educated in some of the Buddhist ideas. So imagine, even nowadays, we have a lot of misinformation, right? We hear about, of course, the political misinformation is there, COVID-related misinformation, and coming down to smaller groups within family, we have misunderstanding, misinformation is there. So this is not uncommon during the Buddha's time. And there was one monk named Aritta. He would talk to other people and say that, oh, Buddha mentioned about bad practices or obstructive things, and even you do those things. Let's keep it simple. Killing is bad, stealing is bad. So those are obstructive behaviors, destructive behaviors. Even you engage in those behaviors, it's not actually that bad. So the monk was talking like this, the Aritta. And other monks heard about this Aritta and reported to the Buddha. And just like a good teacher, Buddha called Aritta to come and visit him and asked, is it true that you've been saying I call certain practices as dangerous and you think they are not dangerous? And he admitted, yes, that is true. And of course, you might not think of this, the Buddha's reaction. Buddha reprimanded this person. He called, in Pali, it's called Moga Purisa. It's a word Buddha used to reprimand somebody, and translation would be like empty man. It's like almost like a stupid or something that implies worthless man. Yeah, Moga. Yes, that's it. Thank you, Steve. Worthless man. So Buddha reprimanded him, and Buddha wanted to correct those wrong understanding about his teaching. And in the sutta, you will see two wonderful examples. It's two similes, and that's what I want to share today. And one of them is just in response to this monk's misunderstanding. Buddha uses simile of a snake. Now imagine somebody wants to catch a snake, and snake could be poisonous, and depending on how you approach, the consequence will be there. And in the sutta, Buddha explained, if you want to catch a snake, what happens if you grasp the snake from its tail? And of course, if the snake is poisonous, the snake is going to turn around and bite you, and you will be inflicted by poison, and you will suffer. So how do you grasp a snake if you have to? And the right place to grasp is not the body, not the tail, but from its head. So it doesn't hurt you. You can either take it, or whatever the purpose is, you can put it in the right place. And Buddha used this simile to compare the Buddha's teaching. Now, Dhamma could be as dangerous as a snake, depending on where you grasp it from, right? If people use Dhamma just for the sake of argument, that's the holding from the wrong place. If you learn Dhamma or inquire about Dhamma to become popular, to become famous, again, you're grasping from the wrong side of the snake, because it will bite you back. And I lived in monastic life. I have seen that among monastic population, and also the lay followers. They grasp the Dhamma from the wrong place. And this is recent news. It breaks my heart to see these stories that monks and devotees I don't want to say the community because it will be too obvious. This monk claims as an enlightened one, and he was celebrated like the Buddha. This is happening. This is not Buddha's time story. This is happening in our time. And all people gathered, doing all kind of rituals, developing ceremonies. Now, to me, that is holding the snake from the wrong side. You use the Dhamma for the very different purpose than what it meant, and that snake will bite really bad. So Dhamma could be misinterpreted and misused, and Buddha wanted to warn. When you learn Dhamma, it should be with a good purpose, and the good purpose would be you're trying to improve your life. And I was teaching a class last Thursday, and we were talking about how to use religious and spiritual practice in a counseling setting. So if people come to psychotherapy, is it okay to people to have these kind of religious practices? And very good discussion among students, but I encourage them to, I lived as a monk for a long time, and I try to be careful when I comment about religion. And one thing I say in general is, no matter what religion, what spiritual practice you engage in, it should make your life better. If your life is getting harder, if it is not solving your daily problems, and if life is becoming more full of burdens, then definitely you got the Dhamma wrong. It doesn't matter what Dhamma, what spiritual practice you're in, you got it wrong. You hold the snake from the wrong place, and it is hurting you. So that was Buddha's warning. And later he explained in a little more deeper teaching in there. in Sutta, Buddha reminded what are some wrong graspings. I'll keep it simple. There's 6 points he talked about, but in general, what he said was there's a term. I think the translation would be vipallasa in Pali. In English, would be distortion. The distorted view would be wrong grasping. For example, in Buddhism, we have these 3 principles. It's almost like indefeatable principles of life. The first one we all know, impermanence, right? And when I moved here over 10 years back, I was warned that when I talk about impermanence, be careful. The American audience are not open to talk about impermanence because it's too scary. Is that true? So impermanence, I'll tell you a little more in a concrete ways. Death, sickness, dying, aging, those are impermanence. And when you talk about them, Buddhism is categorized as a pessimistic teaching because we talk about those topics. But I think Buddhism is just starting to tell you what an actual life looks like. And it doesn't stop there. If we just talk about those changes in life, impermanence in life, then yes, we're pessimistic. But that's the first noble truth, right? What is suffering? What leads people to dissatisfaction? It lists 12 items in there, and you tell me, you can judge, is it too bad to tell that what makes you dissatisfied, right? Aging is dissatisfying because we want to stay young and strong. Or sickness, dying, somebody's death or your own death, thinking about your own death could be dissatisfying. There's other really good ones, appihi sampayogo, living with someone that you don't like to. I think Steve tried to help you with that part, right? When you practice loving kindness, you also show that loving kindness to people that's really hard to get along. And Buddha categorized that as a form of dissatisfaction. Separating from the one you love is also dissatisfaction, cause of dissatisfaction. And grasping anything that is impermanent as permanent is dissatisfaction. So the first point there in summary was like, if you think impermanent aspects of life as permanent, now that is wrong grasping of Dhamma. And also the second part of the summary is thinking that you have this eternal life, and that's a little deeper discussion we can get in. In English, you might call like you have a soul, and it's a little sensitive topic to some people. And in Buddhism, we don't consider that we have a soul that is considered that travel from one person to another, life to life. And Buddha explained that if you understand how we come to be, the manifestation of human being, you will understand it's hard to tell that is something that is yours, that is me, that is I. And it's a hard concept to understand. And Buddha tried to warn, just be careful what you grasp. And if you understand this human nature, all the conditions, we are made of, your consciousness is there, the material, the matter is there. It's a constant conditioning. There's a cause and effect relationship. So if you try to reflect on those changes, you are trying to grasp the Dhamma from the right place. And the second simile, that's really important one, it's commonly heard one, is the using the Dhamma as a raft. If you think of, you're trying to cross a stream of water, and Buddha explained, what would be the best thing to do? You gather some wood and some branches and you make a raft, right? You use the raft to cross the stream. And once you cross the stream, you came to offshore. And what would be the right thing to do? Is it the two options? One option is, do you carry that raft on your head wherever you go because it helped you to cross the stream? Or you just leave it right there at the bank, so someone else can use it to cross this raft again. And the Buddha's analogy was to, yes, it's best if you leave it there so someone else can take advantage of it. In Pali, it's called kulupamo maya dhammo desito nittaranathaya no gahanataya. And Buddha used the raft analogy to explain that Dhamma is also like a raft. Now, it should be learned, it should be memorized, it should be practiced to take you across from this cycle of lives, cycle of samsara, to the other end, which is the end of cycle. And once you reach that end, you have to even abandon the Dhamma. So you cannot be holding or grasping the Dhamma that helped you to come across. Now you can imagine, if even you have to give up the Dhamma, how about bad ones or the Adhamma, right? No, that is not the opposite of Dhamma. Definitely we have to abandon them. So Dhamma is, sometimes people develop certain cultural practices, sometimes certain rituals, and I like to see Dhamma as a lesson that prepares us for a long journey. And misunderstanding or misgrasping this Dhamma can be very hurtful. And this practice, all this, the celebration, coming to temple, practicing meditation, and listening to Dhamma talk, inquiring more about Dhamma, is a way to prepare in this samsaric journey. And knowing, so I'll end with one more point in that discussion and in this sutta. Knowing what is right and wrong is very important, because when you don't know something is wrong or malpractice or inducive to negative consequences, people engage in those behavior more often. And that ties with a story from not Buddha's time, a little later. There was a king called Milinda. He had a long debate with a monk called Nagasena. It's a popular book called The Question of King Milinda. In this sutta and in this book, there's a story about who engaged in, what is the consequence of your karma or your action when you know and when you don't know the actual result of karma. So knowing and not knowing, what does it make any difference? And in long discussion, Bhante Nagasena explained King Milinda, imagine you're trying to grasp a fireball. Now, if that fireball is hot and you know it's hot, how do you approach that fireball? So most of the time, people would think, if it is hot and you know it's hot, you'd be cautious, right? You wouldn't be grasping it with both of your hands. Even you do, you will use a lot of caution there. And what if you don't know it's hot? Well, we have been there. I don't know if you have picked up something that's really hot and you burned yourself. When you don't know, you approach those items without any caution, and you just grasp it and you burn yourself really bad. Same idea applies to knowing what is right and wrong about Dhamma and karma. So if you know that certain all the 5 precepts that you hear of, dwelling in ignorance, if you know those are bad, you're cautious about your action. You're cautious about what you do. And when you don't know, well, then you will engage in those behavior without any caution. So in this sutta, and the end of that sutta, what I like to highlight is that Buddha reminded us, when you learn Dhamma, try to learn those Dhamma to help yourself to improve, and not for the sake of fame or popularity, but really to improve our life. And this, I think I was talking to my friend Leon there, all this experience that you come to temple practicing meditation once a week or once a month, all these practices is like we're trying to fill our jar with wholesome deeds, and wholesome deeds will continue to grow. And this is not one-time thing. One time you do this once in a lifetime, you're done. No, this is a long journey. We have met before, we have done this activity in previous lives, we continue to do, and if you really understand how karma works, we are chipping off our disposition for rebirth, and it will eventually come to emptiness, right? We will empty it. So I encourage you to look at the sutta and inform yourself, learn yourself more, and make sure you learn the Dhamma to improve your life and also reduce your samsaric journey. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sai. I believe you all have a lot of questions. So, so you can ask any question once he's here. Yes.
First, thank you so much. It's my first time here. I literally just stumbled upon it walking down the street.
Welcome.
But this is Buddhism is something I'm definitely interested in. So thank you for the
Yes.
introduction. With, I guess I'm curious, and I don't say this in any explosive way. I'm genuinely
Mm-hmm.
You talked about monks calling someone an enlightened one.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm wondering why that's a problem.
Oh, to claim?
Yeah.
Well, I think it's like fraud. So is fraud a problem? It should be a problem, right? Because you're claiming something that you're not. That can cause damage in many ways. And as a monk, we are trained to be sincere about our practice, about our spiritual levels. And in fact, as monks, monks are not supposed to claim what they're not in spiritual levels. That could lose their the status as a monk. So it's almost like the worst crime they can commit, which is like claiming you're enlightened even you are not. So it's personally that's very damaging to themselves, and in socially you're misguiding a lot of people to the wrong direction, because what I saw I didn't share the community and the country that I heard of. What happened was a lot of people, unlike monks, lay people, they have a lot of other duties. You have household life, you work, you engage in many duties, and you rely on monks to educate you on the right practice and wrong practices. If monks are misguiding, then the whole community is blinded by those wrong practices. And that's not what Buddhism stands for. Buddhism stands for giving you clarity, giving you choices, giving you options. Is this the right path for me? Is this helpful for me and my family to continue and make my life better, live a fulfilling life? So that doesn't happen. So definitely it's a fraud. It's damaging the monk himself or herself, and also misguiding the whole community, and it's defeating the purpose of Buddha's teaching. Does that help? What's your name?
Tyler.
Tyler. Does that help, Tyler?
Yeah, I guess I'm still a little confused because
Uh-huh.
I just understood the purpose of enlightenment and following the Dharma is to reach that point. And so I'm wondering who determines if it is fraud or not.
I see. Okay, I see. So your question was a little different than what I thought. Well, there are a few ways you can find out. One way is if somebody is really enlightened, they would not brag about it. That's one way to know, because imagine you met humble people, right? Humble people, they're considered humble because they don't claim they're humble, right? That's how we know when somebody is humble. So enlightened ones are the embodiment of the Dhamma. They don't engage in fame and glory because they're enlightened. They actually dedicate their life to serve for the benefit of people. Now, when I saw this news, it's so obvious the person was doing all this publicity not in the service, very disservice to the community. So you would know, and even like these Bhantes here, even they're not enlightened. I don't know if anybody's enlightened Bhante, so forgive me if I'm wrong, But even they're not enlightened, look at their service, what they do for community. You can see that on steroid when somebody's enlightened. It's way more, way dedicated for the betterment of society, not for personal gain or fame and glory. Does that help a little bit?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Sailor, thank you for your question. Yes, Russell.
Yes, I was going to say all the Bhantes look enlightened with the sunlight coming in.
I know, right? I'm going to scoot back a little bit so I get some enlightenment myself.
No, my question, thank you. My question, it sounds a little bit odd, but when people have like credit score, credit score, bad credit score, but if you look at karma, like if you live a long time, you might have a bad credit score, bad karma score, maybe many bad deeds. So how do you balance? How do you improve your karma credit?
Karma credit? Well, not the one you see in the TV. It's a karma credit. I think there's a category called karma credit, right? Credit karma, right? They have that. I don't know. I mean, the credit score is very complex, right? You would think that's complex. The karma is way more complex than the credit scores. Karma is a lot more complex. I'll tell you a very simple way to look at how karma works. You can learn more in Abhidhamma. There is a chapter on karma in different categories, by origin, by consequence, by timing, all that. But the simple way to look at karma is it's more optimistic view. So this life, when you start it, I might have said this before, when you are born as a human, as Russell, as Shraddha, as Mr. Nam, so whatever life you came in, when you started this life, consider that as a new beginning. Yes, you have karmic dispositions, your predisposition. We all bring some good and bad karmic consequences that is almost like a ticking time bombs or a waiting fortune to turn into fruition. You will get the results of them depending on many factors. So we all bring that, but think of this life as a new start. I'll tell you why. You cannot be born as a human until you have lived through a lot of karmic results, strong ones, especially the strong ones, the weighty karmic results in life before. So when you became a human, it's almost like a fresh start. And if you are a human being, you're already very close to enlightenment. That's why Buddha valued humans so much. Buddha actually valued human than any other living beings, even the greater beings. So we talk in Buddhism, we have a lot of gods. We have a lot of realms. And Buddha never valued any other lives as much as human life, because to be a human, you have gone through all those karmic results. And when you start a new life, you're getting the result of your previous karma, which is mostly good ones, but also you continue to accumulate new karma, depending on what you choose to do. Now that doesn't keep you in a fixed journey. And there's one part, very important part in Abhidhamma, that is, you can change your karma. And one of the way you can change, therefore, I'll tell you the fourth one, which is by effort. You're born in a, LA downtown or a very different state or city, that doesn't define who you are. Your effort will change the course of life. So yes, we could have many karmas from our previous life, as we believe in karma, and those score can vary, and depending on what you do, the result will vary. And there's another way to look at karma is think of how your strong, wholesome deeds. Now, that's a different topic we can talk. What are some wholesome? I'll tell you, first one you can think of is practicing mindfulness meditation. Now, this is, again, you do it right. You practice mindfulness in a right way. That's the best way to accrue more wholesome karma. What you're doing is you're blocking generating new karmas and automatically generating wholesome karma. Every moment you are making new karma. Sorry to tell you that. Right? Every moment we're constantly, either physically or mentally, we are generating new karma. You think about someone, you like that person, you want to be closer, and you do things to get closer. You think of someone you don't like, you try to push them away. You are in constant production of karma. But when you choose to do greater wholesome karma, like practicing meditation every day, loving kindness for a few minutes every day, that's a way to generate wholesome karma. So there's a saying in Dhammapada, yassa papang katang kammang kusalena pitiyati. So when you engage in these greater wholesome deeds, like meditating, generosity, practicing, thinking about impermanence in a serious way, those are called kusalena pitiyati. You will suppress some of the, or you will destroy some of the bad karma without getting any results. And when you have a lot of wholesome deeds happening every day, it becomes your daily practice. Those small deeds that you've done, or some karmas that you've done, will never come to fruition. It's almost the analogy in Buddha's teaching is, you're drinking a glass of water. Let's say you put 1 tablespoon of salt and you drink that water, definitely going to be salty, right? You take the same amount of salt in a bigger tank or a barrel of water, and you mix that salt, you taste it, you may not even taste any salt in there. So depending on how much wholesome you have accrued, you taste it differently. And it's up to us. Do you want to feel more salt or more water, and how you want to taste it. So karma is, I hope it makes you hopeful. We can change the course of our life, and we are in charge of our own karma. There is nobody watching over us, not even our parents. I'll tell you bad news, Bhantes are not watching over your karmas either. We all are watching after or looking after our karma. And that defines who you're going to be in this life and in the next life. Yes, Shraddha.
Thank you again for your wonderful talk. We're so grateful that you come here. But you also could think of karma in the simplest scientific terms, which is action, reaction. So good actions will have good byproducts.
Yes. And there's a lot you can talk about karma. One thing is, karma doesn't work as for eye for an eye principle, right? You give $1,000 and you wish for $1 million. No. I wish that works. We can start working on it, but it doesn't work that way. So there's a sutta called Kamma Vibhanga Sutta. It's in the same middle length chapter discourse, and it shows connection. So there's a connection between the bad deed and the result. I'll tell you a couple examples. If you are a very jealous person, you're not going to have a lot of jealous people in next life or in this life. You'll be ugly. So that's a very unfiltered way to say it. So if you are unattractive, ugly, because that is connected with your jealousy. And if you are stingy, you don't share, you're not generous, the consequence is you're not going to be surrounded by stingy people. Then the actual consequence is you will have less fortune, right? And if you hurt other people, if you are killing or stealing, killing or hurting other people, the consequence is, it's not that somebody's going to come and beat you, but you will have poor health. So there is a really good connection between our deed and the action to reaction. That people misunderstand, eye for an eye principle, but it's not that way. But we'll talk about that sutta. It's a very interesting sutta. Thank you, Shraddha, for your comment. Any other questions or comments? Yes.
Thank you.
Please tell me your name.
Hector.
Hector.
So we all have families that probably follow the political landscape. People who are claiming to be the chosen ones, especially in America. Do you have any words of wisdom if you're outsider witnessing that, how do you handle those situations?
Can you give me a little more like a?
Like I have family who follow Trump, who claims
Okay.
to be the chosen one,
Okay.
and that's not my belief.
Okay.
How do
Oh,
I
they got that
engage-
level now. Okay.
How do I engage in that? Like, what is the right way of engaging in that situation?
That's I don't want to lose my citizenship, so I'm going to try to respond to it. It's unfortunately the ignorance rule, right? When there is ignorance in a mass scale, it's very dangerous and it's very harmful, and it's unfortunate that people don't see how it started, right? It's a propaganda. Somebody said it. It's like started to spread across media, social media, among people, and they want to buy into those rubbish, right? It's not. And one way to, like, without getting politically engaged, one way to protect ourselves is, I always tell you have to protect yourself. It's hard to protect someone else. Our job is to protect. For you, Hector, it would be like, you know that is not true. You know you don't buy into it, and you should protect yourself. Probably not adding more fuel, and less about politics, more about the Buddhist practice would be, what would destroy my peace of mind? So you should ask yourself, what would destroy peace of my mind? If confronting them would destroy peace of my mind, I would stay away from it, because you have to be selfish. Because if you try, and I like this example, you try to wake up somebody sleeping, it's easy, right? And somebody's really sleeping. Why? They were legitimately sleeping. So when you nudge them or shake them, they will wake up. But try to wake up somebody, pretend to be sleeping. That'll be harder. It will take a lot more effort, because they're not asleep. They're pretending. So that's how ignorance. And I hope you will, I don't know if I had a right answer for you, but protect your peace of mind, and that's the best thing I can suggest. Yeah. Okay, Bante, let's conclude before another question. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you, Sai, and we'll chant the page 4 and page 10. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
Buddham saranam gacchami, Dhammam saranam gacchami, Sangham saranam gacchami. Sentient beings are numberless. I vow to save them all. Deluding passions are inexhaustible. I vow to save them all. Dharma gates are limitless. I vow to study them all. Buddha's way is supreme. I vow to attain it. May suffering ones be suffering free, and the fear-struck fearless be. May the grieving shadow grieve, and the sick find help relief. May Thank you for everybody. Thank you, Mr. Sai, also. And please leave a donation for the temple. Um, a few things again. The next Sunday we have a Lunar New Year celebration and a special blessing. Please come and join. We have the parking in the backyard space, couple of space you can park there when you come to temple, because the street parking is very difficult in LA anywhere these days, and please come and park behind the second house, go to the alley and come to the parking lot. Thanks again for everybody. I hope to see you next Sunday. And by the power of the Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha, you all be well and happy. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.